This is the story of a man who lived in a village. Let us begin this terrifying tale in his own words. Today, I sit on my bed writing my story, and why I am on this bed, you will understand only when you have heard the whole story. But I have one request. If you have a weak heart, please do not listen to this story, or at least do not listen to it alone at night. My name is Tahir. I am an ordinary man from an ordinary village in Pakistan. I belong to a place where days pass slowly under the sunlight, and nights wrap everything in a blanket of darkness, hiding things that no one can even imagine. We were 5 siblings, 2 sisters and 3 brothers. I was the middle child. My older brother was Haris, and my younger brother was Osman. Our 2 younger sisters, Haina and Nimra, were still in school. Both our parents were alive, but age and the exhaustion of life had carved deep wrinkles into their faces. Father rarely spoke. He would occasionally fill his pipe with tobacco, smoke it quietly, and watch us in silence. I was married. My older brother was married too, but we all lived together in one large courtyard house. Haris had a gentle temperament, but his wife Rabia had a fiery one. My wife Nazia was simple-natured, though her tongue was sharp. The fight began over the smallest of things. It was morning. Nazia was making parathas on the stove when Rabia said, "Could you hurry up a little? The children need to get to school." Without turning around, Nazia replied, "I hurry every single day. Your children are not royalty that they should be ready before mine." That was all it was. But like a snowball rolling off a mountain, it gathered everything in its path. Voices rose. Words about each other's families were thrown. And what usually happens, happened. Rabia stormed off, and by afternoon, weeping and furious, she left for her father's house. I scolded Nazia. "What was the need to use your tongue like that? It is brother who earns for all of us. We depend on him." Nazia stayed silent, but her silence held a stubbornness within it. Haris came home from the city that evening. When he heard his wife had left, he was deeply saddened. He said nothing to me, just went and sat with mother. After dinner, he sat in the courtyard and said, "I cannot stay in this environment much longer. I have no complaint against you, but my wife no longer wants to come here. I will find a house in the city." I held him and wept. He was my strength. He consoled me, "I will send you food and groceries every month. Just do not lose hope." The following week, he was gone. The silence of the house grew heavy. Mother spent her days lost in thought. Father became even quieter. All responsibility fell upon me. One evening, Father called me over. "Tahir, if you cannot find a job, do some small work here in the village. Sitting idle will get you nowhere." I asked, "But where will the money come from, Father?" He went silent. I understood there was weight in his words. I called Haris. He said, "Open a shop. Start any business. Work hard. I am with you." One day I went to the city. At a butcher's shop, chickens were being cut. Meat, blood, buyers, bids. A thought struck me like lightning. There is no poultry shop in our village at all. I came home and told Father. He said, "All right, but where will the shop come from?" At the corner of our street, an uncle had a shop that had been closed for a long time. I went to him. He listened and said, "Take it. Just give me 2,000 a month." I agreed. Over the next 2 days, I cleaned the shop, built a wooden stall, put up a shed. Then I went to Haris. He brought 20 chickens. "Here's your start. Work hard." I brought the chickens home as night fell. In my heart were both hope and fear. The next morning I woke up early, went straight to the shop. The chickens were fine. I gave them water. Then from a nearby shop, I bought supplies. A sharp knife, a cleaver, bags, weights, a small scale. The first day, no one came. The second day, silence again. On the third day, a small child came. My mother says, "Give me half a kilo of chicken." My heart filled with joy. Business began to move, slowly, bringing chickens from the city and selling them here. When I earned a little, I brought something for the children. Mother blessed me. Father watched in silence. as though proud, deep inside. One night, it was around 10 o'clock. I was at the shop, gathering the chickens, when suddenly a man appeared. Not old, not young, average height. A plain face, but something strange about it. No smile, no anger, just silence. He gestured with his hand. 1 kilo of chicken. I quickly weighed it, packed it in a bag, he paid, and turned to leave. But he was heading toward the narrow path. That path leads into the bushes and fields. There are no houses there. Perhaps he came from the city. The path goes that way too. I reassured myself. The next morning when I arrived at the shop and opened the door, I saw it, and for a moment my legs felt rooted to the ground. The same bag, same size, same white color, same faint streaks of blood, as if replaying the memory of the previous night. With trembling hands, I picked it up and opened it. Inside, the meat was exactly as before, not rotten, not dried, completely fresh. But the question was, how did it come back? I had locked the shop myself. The key was with me. Either it was a thief, but why would a thief steal meat and then return it? I told myself maybe someone was playing a prank. I pushed the thought aside and began opening the shop as usual. Around this time, Osman came, my younger brother, books in hand. Brother, mother says to bring flour along with the groceries. It has run out. I nodded. Osman was a wise boy, in his 12th grade, always buried in books. You have a test tomorrow, right? I asked. Yes, brother, but I cannot sleep. Last night I had a strange dream. My heart began to pound. What dream? A man in black clothing, silent. When I sleep, he leans over me, as if studying me. I cut him off. Read less. It affects the mind. Osman went quiet, but my own sleep had been disturbed for some nights too. At night, I seemed to hear the sound of footsteps. Sometimes there was the feeling of someone standing in the corner of the shed, but when I shone a light, nothing was there. This incident happened on a Thursday. The shop was busier than usual because the next day there was a birthday feast in the village. I spent the whole afternoon cutting chickens. My hands were tired. In the evening, mother called. Tahir, your brother Harris is coming tomorrow. He says he's bringing supplies and shoes for the little one. I was delighted. When Harris came, everything felt manageable again. Around 8 at night, I was just about to close the shop when the same man appeared again. Same silence, same gaze, same stillness. This time he did not gesture. He just came and stood there. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I spoke up myself, 1 kilo. He said nothing. Without waiting for an answer, I took out a chicken, cut it, weighed it, packed it, and handed it to him. He paid and again, without a word, walked off in the same direction, toward the path through the bushes. I listened to his footsteps for a long time, as though he were walking not on the ground, but through the air. That night I slept in exhaustion, but a dream came. I was in my shop. The chickens were screaming. The cages were opening by themselves. In the corner of the shed stood a figure, wrapped in dark shadow. I screamed, "Who are you?" But it said nothing. It moved toward me, its eyes black, but inside them, a deep red glow, like light peering through burning coals. I woke up drenched in sweat. It was 3 in the morning. Next morning Osman came to my room. Brother, mother says you are gasping in your sleep at night. What is wrong? I made an excuse, just tiredness. But Osman watched me for a moment as though he understood something I had not said. When I reached the shop and opened the door, my heart nearly stopped. The same bag again. But this time, there was no meat inside. Instead, there was a burned piece of paper inside the bag, on which it seemed someone had written with a finger. Most of the words were nothing but dark smudges. Only one word could be clearly read: time. That day, I was convinced something was deeply wrong. I cleaned the shop as usual, cared for the chickens, cut 4 of them and set them aside. The day went on normally. I had no idea that tonight something was about to happen to me that would ruin my life forever. If I had known, I would have closed the shop right then and there. Evening came, some customers arrived. My cousin came too. We had grown up together, and whenever we met, we talked for hours. We kept talking until night fell and he left. Now I was alone. It was nearly 10 o'clock. The day had been good. The news of Harris coming tomorrow had also settled my heart. I rearranged the chicken cages, swept the corners of the shed, sat on the wooden stall and breathed. The night cold was deepening. There was no moon in the sky, only darkness and the distant barking of dogs. Then I felt it. A strange silence had descended. Not ordinary silence. As though even the air around me had stopped moving. A cold wave passed through my body. I looked around. Outside the shed was darkness, and the road ahead was empty. Then he came, same path, same clothes, same quiet, same manner. This time he came closer than before. No greeting, no gesture. He just came and stood at the door of the shop. I said uneasily, "What do you want?" Silence. His eyes bore into mine as if drilling holes through them. "Why don't you speak?" Then, slowly, he placed his hand on the door. The knife fell from my hand. I jumped up to try to close the door, but he was already inside. Inside the shop, just 4 steps away from me. Then suddenly, one of the chickens in a cage screamed violently and died. I spun toward it in shock, and when I looked back, the man was now standing behind the stall, as if he had changed position in the blink of an eye. My breath froze. I stepped back. Who are you? What do you want?" Then suddenly, all the lights went out. Only a faint blue light came from outside, an eerie light, like moonlight. But there was no moon in the sky. Then something happened that pulled the ground from beneath my feet. The man began to bend, slowly, as if bones were cracking. And then he got down on all fours, but not like a human, like an animal, crawling toward me. I tried to scream. No sound came. My legs would not move. My hands were shaking. Then he grabbed my foot. A cold hand, cold as ice. My entire body began to go numb. I pushed him with all my strength, but it had no effect. He bent closer to my face, and for the first time, I saw his eyes. White, completely white, no pupils at all. Then he began to speak slowly, in a language that was not Urdu, not Arabic, not Punjabi, not any human tongue. But in his voice, it was as if 2 people were speaking at once. 1 man, 1 woman, both together. Then suddenly, he placed his hand on my shoulder, and my body caught fire. No wound, no blade, just the feeling that the veins inside were burning. I began to lose consciousness. Everything in front of my eyes went blurry. The sounds of the chickens had already stopped. In the shop there was only one sound, as though thousands of screams were echoing through my ears at once. Then he was gone. He did not open the door. No light came on. He simply disappeared. I was in the hospital. Half my body had stopped moving. My tongue could move, but my voice was weak. Harris sat at my bedside. Who did this? Who was he? With great difficulty I said, That man who used to come for the meat. He kept coming back. The doctor said, half the body has become paralyzed. The internal muscles appear burned, but there is no wound, no cause. An old man in the neighborhood heard this and said, "This is the work of the jinn. They do not come at night, they come for intention." After that day, my life was never what it had been. The doctors said half my body was finished. Some internal organs appeared burned, but no external mark. What could I tell them? How could I explain that the man inside me had burned too? Harris took 2 weeks off and stayed with me. Mother stayed up every night, read the Quran again and again, and blew prayers over my head. Father, he became like stone. He said only once, first he could not become anything, and now his body has broken too. That sentence did not sting, it became a wound. Now my life is limited to this bed. I lie in one corner. My hands move, my feet do not. My tongue speaks, but my heart does not. Sometimes Usman sits beside me and studies. Nimra presses my feet, as if hoping life might return to them. My wife Nazia has gone silent. She, who was once so sharp with her words, has become a shadow. She just comes at night and quietly lays a blanket over me. She says nothing. I have a lot of time to think now. If only the fight had not happened. If only Harris had not gone to the city. If only I had not opened the shop. If only I had closed early that night and gone home. If only I had remained ordinary, useless perhaps, but at least safe. But in life, if only changes nothing. Now that man no longer comes. No more bags, no more sounds. But the shop still sits closed. People walking past it lower their eyes. No one says anything, but everyone knows something happened there. They just do not speak of it. Today I lie on this bed, writing my story. You have heard my tale. Perhaps now you understand that fear is not only what we see. Fear is what steals your life and leaves your breath behind. If you heard this story at night, perhaps you too will be silent for a while. And if you heard it during the day, surely something deep inside your heart has been shaken. If my story has touched you, then say one prayer for a stranger, a broken, helpless man whom you do not know, but who today lives only in words. This story ends here. But some stories never die.